Pump it up, pump it up.
Trae.
Come on, come on.
With Trae.
Pump it up, pump it up.
It's the day with Trae.
This is the day to gain inspiration, to make a positive change in the nation. We're inviting you to partake in conversation to raise your vibration. It's the day that we will all celebrate all of our peeps that make this thing elevate. Watch the negative fade away, cause it's the day with Trae.
Grand Rising, everyone. Welcome to the Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. We got another magnificent Monday in the works for y'all. Really excited for my guest today. Up first, I get the chance to speak to Bruce Jackson. He's here to tell us more about the Washington Ethnic Studies Now and their legislative agenda. So I'm really excited to have him here. And later on in the show, we got Kathleen Hosfeld, Executive Director of Homestead, back in the building with me. We're going to be talking about their work and an upcoming event. She's going to shed some light on it for us today. But of course, you know it's the top of the show, so it's a perfect time to tag and share this stream right here. Go ahead and share this show with folks who you feel could benefit from the daily dose of dopeness we work to provide you here on the Day with Trae. And if you can't watch our TV show, we still have you covered, because in the world of modern day technology, we are also in podcast format. So you can listen to us anywhere you find your favorite podcast. Just search Converge Media Network and the Day with Trae. You'll find me on whichever platform is your favorite. Well, you know, it's really exciting to be able to have Bruce Jackson coming up next to tell us more about the legislative agenda with Washington Ethnic Studies Now. Hi, Bruce.
Hi.
How are you?
All right. Good. Great.
Well, you know, this is a topic that I think a lot of people are trying to figure out, because as people are putting agendas out, there's a lot that we have to learn, not only to be informed and engaged voters, but also for us to understand the landscape more. Tell us a bit about your work with Washington Ethnic Studies Now and how you got involved.
Oh, well, I've been involved with the most recent surge for ethnic studies. Started back in, I guess, 2015, 2014, maybe at about the time we had the SEA strike. So we kind of decided that we've been messing around with children of color doing poorly in public schools, and we figured that the reason that was happening is because they weren't hearing their stories being told. They weren't seeing their roles being acknowledged. And we made it our mission to end that and to end it by any means necessary. So we talked with a few SEA executives, and Kyle Kinoshita decided that he was gonna make a movement to make this happen. So what he did was he called a bunch of community groups together. We sat down in a room together and we ironed out how we were gonna make concrete change in public schools. So what he did first was he created the Ethnic Studies Advisory Group, because that's what that whole group decided, that we needed more ethnic studies in our schools. So he called on anybody who from that room that was willing to apply and spend a lot of time making change. And we got Tracy Castro-Gill, who's current leader of WASM. Got me, Shraddha Shude, a bunch of educators who wanted to see change, and we did it. We decided initially that we were going to create curriculum because the curriculum didn't exist, but as we continued creating curriculum, we found that we pivoted to creating frameworks so that we could give an overall viewpoint of what needed to be taught in each subject, like math, English, science, how to approach those topics in a way that the average educator could take a look at, create lesson plans based on what they see, and make that work. So although we do create curriculum, we also create frameworks, and that's the way we would prefer to do it. And what we do is we teach the educators how to use the frameworks and develop those frameworks over years. And it seems to work pretty well, and it's a fairly effective with a lot of people who want to be a part of it. And it just seems like that seems to be the way to go. That's the way we've been doing it.
Well, there's something to be said too about the importance of this work right now, particularly as kind of ethnic studies and teaching, history from a holistic perspective is on the attack across the country. How have y'all been able to kind of take that understanding of like the social climate and what's happening there and, really mold it into your approach with the work you all are doing?
Well, when we put out our math curriculum, Fox News latched onto it, and we started getting death threats from the educators that were doing. I guess we just decided that this was more important than, this is not something you back away from because people were threatened. We had to fight, and it was time to approach history because we were about to make it. Because we were going to change the way that things were going to be done in the school district, and I guess I've forgotten a lot of what we did, but we're one of the critical educators in the Black Lives Matter at School movement too. So we were putting out curriculum just for that 1 week of educating. We changed the way that, we did manage to change the way that Black History Month was taught. At least one of those weeks is going to be taught the way we wanted it to be taught. And that was embracing of all people. And we had 13 principles of how we wanted those lesson plans to be taught. And we went out and we created curriculum surrounding each one of those principles. And we have been doing it for the past 5 years. And doing as much as we can to keep the country moving forward. And when you're effective, that's when they come after you. And that's what they've been doing.
Yeah.
We get a lot of Fox News reports and such about the things they see as being divisive. When what they see as divisive, we see as inclusive. And I don't know, when everybody's picture is taken, the ones who have been standing in front feel like they're losing something when everybody's picture is being taken. And that's what I think the backlash is. That the people in front don't want to see the world as it is. They want to see the world as them leading.
The way they've been taught to see it, essentially, right? I mean, there's so much history that goes into shaping that perspective of the world, right? And not only history, but so much. And when we start talking about legislation and policy, we realize that throughout the course of the history of this country, there's been a lot of legislative action that has cemented that perspective. Tell us a little bit more about how y'all are taking your expertise and diving into creating your own legislative agenda.
Well, we've developed relationships with our local politicians. Bob Hasagawa and Tomiko Santos have been very, very powerful allies in putting forth legislation that was impactful. I think we need more teeth in it, but there have to be consequences of not doing it at this point in time, and I think that's where we're falling short. We don't have teachers can look at the curriculum and use it or not use it, and a lot of educators are just not using it, which makes the students from one class go to the next class and not hear the confirmation of what was taught in the other classroom. So we've got to figure out how to make it more all-encompassing. And it's one of the things I like to say is that algebra isn't an American word. Okay, and most of the things we teach, we have no idea where these ideas are coming from. And most of the time, it's not from the good old USA, it's from everywhere else in the world. And what we want is to acknowledge that it's coming from everywhere else in the world. And if we get you in a room and sit you down, we can figure out how to convince you of that fact. But if you're not willing to listen, we can't help you. And we want people to be, if not willing to listen, ask by your administrators to listen, because the fact that the truth has to come out, and the way that we want things to be done is we want people to go into a classroom, know that what they're getting is the truth as best we know it, and move on from there.
Yeah. That's a really important point, and I'm so glad this work is happening here in the Pacific Northwest. Thank you for all you're doing. Of course, if folks want to stay connected, get engaged, find ways to maybe bring their brilliance to the effort, or stay connected to the ways that y'all are progressing, please look right there in this camera closest to me here and let them know how they stay engaged right here.
Oh, yeah, well, as educators, talk to your administrators about bringing Washington ethnic studies into your schools. We've been contracting with most of the schools in Washington State. We've taught our lesson plans at I think between 30 and 50 schools in Seattle public school area, and over 100 outside in Greater Washington State. We've even had a few that have gone as far as California and Arizona, but mostly West Coast. We taught major lesson plans to. We've taught our curriculum plan to Oregon too. So we have a good amount of outreach, but mostly Washington Ethnic Study is made up of volunteer educators, and we've been volunteering for a long time now. It's like going on 8 years of volunteer work. We only have 2 staff at Washington Ethnic Studies now, so we kind of need more students' involvement. We need more educator involvement, and if you can volunteer, just go to Washington Ethnic Studies now and sign up. We do need your help, and our work is important. And we need people to come and get in contact and stay involved, get involved and stay involved, and take this fight to the end.
Thank you so much, Bruce. Thank you for the work you and all of the folks over there at Washington Ethnic Studies now are doing. It is necessary. We see you and we appreciate you. Feel free to come by anytime y'all have some updates, okay? I'm here for y'all.
Yeah. When the legislative section starts, that's when we're going to need as much outreach as possible. So we'll probably stay in contact with you when those bills are coming up. A letter to a legislator says a lot of things that we can't say by ourselves.
That's right. Absolutely. Thanks so much.
All right.
Wow. Y'all, what a great way to start the week off with some great education. And up next, we got Kathleen Hosfeld in the building from Homestead Community Land Trust. We're going to be learning more about their work, kind of getting some updates, and of course, about their upcoming event. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
No.
Hello, welcome to Elite Insights with Carlos Imani. We're looking to offer an in-depth look at event production industry through the lens of client experiences and joint successes. The podcast will emphasize guest interviews, focusing on client discussing their fields and reflecting on their collaboration with Elite Collective. Again, you're with Elite Insights. Carlos Imani here. See you guys in a few.
Get ready for an unforgettable conversation. Join beloved talk show TV star Sherry Shepherd for a special episode of The Day with Trae. Sherry opens up about her incredible career, the joys of motherhood, and the importance of staying true to yourself. Make sure and tune into this very special episode of The Day with Trae on August 8th at 8:30 p.m. across all Converge media platforms or at whereweconverge.com. Welcome back, everyone, to the Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday, welcoming Kathleen Hosfeld back in the building. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
So good to be with you.
It's always good to be with you and to learn more. Now, some of our audience may have seen some other interviews we've done, but I always love to keep it at the forefront of our mind because there is some direct work happening when it comes to affordability of home ownership. Kathleen, for those who may not know, tell us a little bit about the work y'all do.
Thank you so much. Yes, Homestead Community Land Trust is an affordable home ownership developer and steward working here in King County and in Pierce County now as well. So we make home ownership attainable for people who make less than area median income, which is a term in our industry. We have over 246 homes in trust. We are a classic community land trust, meaning that we follow the model that civil rights leaders created back in the 60s and 70s in the Deep South. Community land trusts, as you put it the last time I was here, are a form of resistance against the Jim Crow forces that were at work back in that day, that were forcing people off land for registering to vote. So leaders created the community land trust model to create safety in collective ownership of land and to create those first-time home buying opportunities for folks who very much deserve them and need them. The model involves membership by the people who live on the land, and I think that's an important point to emphasize, because if all you care about is building affordable homes, there are lots of good models to do that and to subsidize the prices. But what this model cares about also is power and privilege in the affordable housing industry. And so that membership organization, that membership vote and governance really helps level the field, make sure that the people who live in the homes have a voice in the governance of the community land trust. And we have both the people who own our homes are members, but people from the community can be members as well. And we really invite the audience to join us and help us grow Homestead and the homeownership opportunities that we have.
You know, this is so exciting when I hear more and more about the model, because when you think about the history, it is so anchored in the power of collectivism. Absolutely. And then also the ideas of ownership, which that sense of agency is so crucial, especially when you're embarking upon like the largest purchase of your lifetime. More often than not, is going to be home, it's going to be real estate. But there's something so special too about the model where, you know, this is here for those who need it, and then providing that next leg up. Absolutely. Right, for a lot of the equity to kind of stay there so that it stays affordable. Tell us a little bit about that, because I think some people sometimes get confused about all that.
Thank you so much for asking. It's really, the model is creating an alternate economy for home ownership, one that creates homes that are permanently affordable. So I, as an income qualified person, could own a home, and I could purchase, I would sell it at an affordable price to the next income qualified household. And that means that we're creating an ongoing series of those first-time home buying opportunities for people who are shut out of the market. Regular market rate homes in King County are $800,000 to $1 million. But what ordinary people can afford is more like $250,000 and $300,000. We have a situation here in King County, because it's such a high cost market, that even people with median incomes cannot afford the median priced home in this county. The median priced household or income household could afford about a $500,000 home without being cost burdened. So we have a problem where even folks who have median incomes, home prices are $500,000 higher than they can afford. This is a problem, and that's what the community land trust model is really a genius solution for, because we create those homes at $250,000, $300,000, and they stay affordable over the long haul, permanent affordability. It's, I like to call it an alternate economy for housing, have a permanent impact on our communities, cementing those first-time home buying opportunities for folks. Some of our folks stay in those homes their whole lives. Some of them leave their homes to their heirs. We love that. And for some people, it's a stepping stone from maybe subsidized rental or market rate rental, but it's that stepping stone from that point to ultimately market rate homeownership if they choose to go that direction.
Wow.
So it's a great solution, really honored and to be part of it.
And over 200 homes. I mean, this is years of work, Kathleen. And honestly, there is always something to be said about the example that's being created, because it helps to set a standard for how to build upon the example and the model that's being created. But it also seems like there's always a push for not only to constantly educate, to make sure that, you know, policy, legislation, those kinds of things are a part of this. Tell us a bit about that part of the work, because I think some people think, oh, but it's already created, you're cemented. And it's like there's continuous work in that area, right?
Absolutely. And I will say it took us 32 years to get 246 homes in trust. We are set to double that amount in the next 6 years.
Wow.
And that is the pace that's needed. We are so far behind. Homestead developed a project called the Closed Doors Report, where we documented in a Tableau dashboard and a report the lack of supply that exists. And here in King County, there are triple-digit deficits in terms of the supply that's affordable to that income-qualified household, but also to other non-income qualified households as well. And to your point, there's a tremendous amount of advocacy that is needed to increase the supply further to catch up. We've made really important investments in lower income. Some of our most vulnerable folks are homeless and the folks who qualify for rental housing. And Lord knows there's been lots of investment in the higher end housing for people with greater means, but there has been a lack of investment in that middle income, lower middle income home ownership. And we need to dramatically take up the pace of new construction to serve that market. We are hollowing out our middle class because they don't have affordable places to live close to their jobs and close to the communities that they've been part of for centuries. So huge legislative advocacy push to increase resources, to lower barriers to production, and to get more people in their first home.
You know, this is why I love this work so much, because it is not only community driven, but it's also like sustained by community action. And so I love people knowing more and understanding the model more. But y'all are doing a great work in terms of bringing folks out to kind of talk about history, their expertise, and how it ties into the work. Y'all have been doing that. You have an event coming up next month. I want to hear a little bit about this from your perspective.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we started this a program called A Conversation With last year, and we brought Henry Louis Gates to Seattle, and it was just a stellar night. And he talked about the rise and fall of Reconstruction, and he compared the experiences of folks at that time with what's happening now. Really insightful commentary on how the people that want to keep folks where they are using the same playbook that they used back then, voter suppression, stacking the Supreme Court, et cetera. And so this year we wanted to continue that conversation. And it's really important to us that we center the voices of Black people in this conversation, because that is the most affected group by these the systemic inequities that we see at work in the housing environment. So this year we're bringing Isabel Wilkerson. Isabel is a Pulitzer Prize winning author and a reporter. She first came on the scene with her book, The Warmth of Other Suns. It was about the Great Migration. That picks up in timeline right after Dr. Gates' conversation. She has more recently written the book Caste. She reports that when she was writing The Warmth of Other Suns, she started really noticing this idea of caste that actually was being talked about during the civil rights movement as a metaphor for what was being seen in terms of the injustices that were going on. But it was in her work on The Warmth of Other Suns that really rose to her consciousness, and she started looking at that as what I like to call an invisible operating system functioning just under people's awareness that reinforced decisions about who could benefit from the resources and the abundance that this country has to offer. So she will be joining us September 12th at Town Hall for a conversation. Marcus Harrison Green will be our host, and we'll focus the conversation with her. But we hope to bring these themes home to the Puget Sound area. We, a lot of folks seem to want to say, oh, well, King County, we don't have those issues here. We sure as heck do. And so we want to bring the themes home. We want to point to examples of how these themes have shown up. And we also want to talk about folks that have been doing work all along to create opportunities for Black folks to own homes, own property, and experience the abundance that the Great Pacific Northwest can offer.
This is what's really interesting about this is that it showcases that there's always work happening on the solution side. And I think we can sometimes tend to really focus on, oh my goodness, look at all of the disparities. Like all of this stuff is real and it exists. But the fact that we have folks who stand up, who collectively bring their power together, who work towards not only engaging and educating communities that they're parts of, because it's so important to bring all communities into these discussions, right? To elevate like our collective consciousness. Together we can understand how to dismantle a lot that has been put in place to keep disparities wide, right?
Exactly.
So I really love that y'all have embarked on this conversation series and you're bringing great experts into this work to tie it into what it looks like today. So I just got to give you your flowers, Kathleen. Thank you for all the work you're doing. This is definitely not easy work, but of course, before I let you go, I got to give you time because people want to know how they contribute. I mean, you were just talking about even if they're not a homeowner, they can also have a stake and be an owner in what y'all are doing and in the land. Tell us a little bit more about that. Let the folks know how they stay plugged in with Homestead.
We so welcome your involvement. There's a number of ways that you can get involved. First, you can sign up to attend a conversation with Isabel Wilkerson. We have a range of prices from $0 if you can't afford to pay, all the way up to different levels that can support Homestead's work. This is a benefit for Homestead's work. But beyond that, we do invite you to become members of Homestead. You can go to our website, www.homestead, www.homesteadclt.org and look for the Engage page, and there you'll find a way to sign up to be a member. But there's also lots of other ways to get involved with Homestead that are on that on the website as well. So we welcome you as members of the community. Take ownership of Homestead, take ownership of our work, help us know how to serve the community best, and tell us what you're looking for from the Community Land Trust that is been here since 1992.
Wow. Kathleen, it's a long time. I mean, 32 years to get to over 200 homes says a lot about the dedication of this work. Your entire team and the teams that were before you, like this is really great that there's so much dedication there. Thank you for being here and always shedding light on the great work y'all are doing.
Thank you so much for letting us share the work with people, Trae, and thank you for your work. It's just amazing, your work here on the Day with Trae. Just a delight. Thank you.
Absolutely. Y'all, this is what I'm talking about. This is how we get our week started off nice and right. I get to wrap all of this up right after this short break. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
In your 40s, your body break down.
The comedy of Leslie Jones.
You trying to have sex after 46? Put my leg down! Put my leg down!
The hilarious Leslie Jones.
I got osteoporosis.
Don't miss Leslie Jones.
Thank you so much.
Disenrollment is a situation whereby people whose birthright to be indigenous is being stolen from them by politicians that have been elected to lead.
Today, the latest or last chapter of the saga concerns the threatened physical ejectment of as many as 21 Nooksack families from their homes
I think it come about by hatred for our family. That's what it's all about.
Our bloodline is still here. You know, they can't get rid of us.
Hey everybody, this is DJ OG1, co-founder of Portland's Hip Hop Week celebration, August 20th through the 26th, an entire week of celebrating the culture. And we have a special event called Hip Hop Wine and Chill, where we'll be celebrating and honoring Seattle's own Converge Media, Beza Gordon, and Amari Salisbury. Portland Hip Hop Week, August 20th through the 26th. For more information, log on to pdxhiphopweek.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to The Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. Huge shout out to my guest today, Bruce Jackson with Washington Ethnic Studies Now, and telling us a bit about their work, how over the last 8 years they've been implementing curriculum and framework for a holistic approach to educating our students out here and our scholars, so they understand the truth and how that truth can permeate into a wide range of subject matters. So glad he was here. Please make sure you follow them, figure out how to stay engaged with them. You know, go to Washington Ethnic Studies Now, I think .org. He didn't share the website, but look it up, right? Washington Ethnic Studies, and figure out how to get engaged. You know, he was saying they need more educators. They need students to be engaged. And so if you know of someone who is in that body of work who can contribute, please let them know. And of course, huge shout out to Kathleen Hosfeld for being here from Homestead Community Land Trust. You can visit them at homesteadclt.org. Of course, they're doing some phenomenal work, and you can sign up to be a member. You can find a way to donate, to participate in their work, honestly, to come out to the events that they're doing to benefit their work there. This Isabel Wilkerson event is going to be huge. September 12th, you can find your tickets there. Make sure that you engage. You know, when we have guests here, the whole point is to not only just educate you or inform you, but to inspire you to get engaged. You know, I'm always inspired by my guests here, and I want you to feel that inspiration so that you will not only get engaged, but you'll find the things that really matter to you. It could be other things in your community that you're like, you know what, I need to do something too. That person's story really struck me, and it reminds me of me getting out there. Like, I need to do more. You know, that's what this is about. It's a way to encourage you to do more. Or if you're already out there doing things, it's a way to showcase how much we appreciate the value and the work you're bringing into your communities. I want to thank all of y'all for starting your week off with me here on The Day with Trae this Monday. You know I will be back with you tomorrow. Until then, at 11 a.m., y'all. Peace. Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.